Right. Just checking. Just checking. Right. So first off, I want to say all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakodash, the honors to the apostles and elders of Great Stone, and shalom to the brothers and highways and byways pushing this word now, sincerity and truth. Sisters, the believers, the helps. Shalom. Wanted to do this live stream. Basically, at first I was thinking about doing it in a few parts. But after a while I saw that everything kind of tied in. So probably just to just do a stream. I'll try to make it as short as possible, and just want to get some word definitions in regards to even light and darkness, and going into how Yahushua is the light that he used to basically overcome all the darkness. Slakia. Um Slakia Akim. Right. So we're just gonna get in the prophecies, right? And as I said, just overview these concepts. Now, the first thing I want to do is just go into some word definitions, right? And the first word definition I want to go into is the word darkness, right? Just get it pulled up in the BLB. And this is Genesis. This is Genesis chapter 1. Starting at verse 1, it says that, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, darkness overall have a particular concept, right? It is like as you know, the absence of light, but it also have a few metaphorical meanings, such as ignorance, confusion, obscurity, right? Unorganized or disorganized, out of order, is death, calamity, destruction. Those are the type of words that you would associate with the word darkness on the word darkness on an overall scale, right? Now let's go to the word light. Right, let's go this word light. So it says the second verse says, what the fuck? Let me just read verse 4. It says, and God saw the light that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So right, you have light. Look up this word light as well. Right? So when you look up this word light from the Hebrew word awar, and it gives a few definitions. It says light, light of day, light of heavenly luminaries, moon, stars, daybreak, dawn, morning light. But it goes down and it says light of prosperity, light of instruction, right? Light of life. So even the word light within itself have a few spiritual definitions as well. As I say, prosperity, order, wisdom, uh, wisdom. They have righteousness, right? Purity, right? As you know, darkness also associated with wickedness and evil, right? So they always are going to have the opposite of these two things, right? And then we'll go to and have a few definitions, right, of similar Hebrew words, right? So as this is starting off with the word darkness, but this lesson is mainly going to be geared towards the New Testament definitions. This is Deuteronomy 28, starting at verse 29, it says, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness. Also, another thing that is associated with darkness is what? It's blindness, the lack of sight, right? Because the way our eyes work is it actually taking light, as they have a parable or a saying in the New Testament that we're gonna get as well, right? Yes, it's also associated with blindness, while light is also associated with having sight, being able to see, right? So continuing, it says thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed evermore, and no man shall save thee. Now let's look up the word darkness here. And also shalom to the brothers on the comment board, right? Shalom Akim. Yeah, so look up the word darkness, and it's from the Hebrew word apala, right? It says gloominess, darkness, calamity, figuratively wickedness, right? And when you look in the Strong's definitions, they usually have some like synonyms, right? Duskiness, figuratively misfortune, right? Concealment, gloominess, thick. So basically, darkness is also attributed unto that. Now, back when I was doing the research for this lesson, I was seeing one of the verses that one of the words that was synonymous with it was shadow, right? And it also gave a reference from Job, which is also the shadow of death. And basically, through the research, what I realized is that we in the Hebrew culture, the shadow of death was basically what I say, a proverb, or no, not a proverb, an idiom, right? It was an idiom towards anywhere that dwell calamity and things of that sort. So I get it now. This is Job 34, verse 22. It says, "There is no darkness nor shadow of death where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves." Right? So we look up the word darkness, and we'll look up the word shadow of death as well. Right? From the Hebrew word kashak, right? Darkness, obscurity. When you look up the word for the root word for the word darkness, it is kashak, right? It says to become dark, grow dim, right? Be darkened, be black, be hidden. And you can come in the street and get the light, and you can grow dim, as in your light going out, right? Which means what? You going back into the world, which is what? The place of darkness, the place of evil, right? It says to make dark, cause to be dark, right? To obscure, to confuse. Hey, this world is a very dark place, yo. The food is dark because hey, it's obscure, yo. You look on a mango and I say, all right, yeah, eat a fruit, but when I go into the knowledge of GMO and all those things, I realize that yeah, it might look like a mango, but an our mango, it's basically you just have the form of it. So basically, it's obscure. Just like if you have a mannequin in the dark standing up at a door, you might think that hey, that is an actual person there. But because the darkness obscure your vision, that is why I think that until you go up close and you shine the light upon it, you realize that hey, it's not an actual person. It's a mannequin. And such is this world, yo. In order for really, if you see what go on, you need the light. And that is the thing, when you shine light upon darkness and you see the confusion, that is how you can actually get things in order. That is how you can get things right. And that is what Yahweh Shai is in this world. To Israel first and foremost, but mainly to the elect on this side, right? Because we get the light to understand all of that and to get things in order, get ourselves in order through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshai, Rakak Wadash, of course, right? So, hey, the confusion of our people, the confusion of the whole entire earth, the only way to overcome that is basically to get the light, right? Now, so that was basically the definitions from the Old Testament, which is basically a few general the definitions overall. So now let's get into the meat of the matter, right? As a matter of fact, let me get this as well. Select light. Start with St. John 1, right? All right. So St. John 1 verse 6. It says, there was a man sent from God whose name was John, and the same came for a witness, to be a witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Right? So let's a lot of this breakdown is going to be based upon definitions, and some of it is going to be a bit repetitive, but there are a few slight differences. Right? So he said he came to be a witness of what? The light. So let's look up the word light here, play it in the Greek. All right, and it goes down. It says the light, and emitted light, a light such as surrounding angels when they appear. But I'm gonna go down to the second set of the definitions, which is basically the metaphorical ones. It says God is light through God is light because light has the extremely delicate, subtle, pure, brilliant quality. Right? It says be of truth and its knowledge, together with the spiritual purity associated with it, right? So basically, John became that is what Yahushua is. Yahushua is truth, right? Right. This and it already says the spiritual purity that comes with it, right? C says that which exposed to the view of all, openly, publicly. Or we go to the highways and byways, what we do? We expose all of the doctrines of this world, right? Let me also get a quick scripture based upon that definition, right? Breaking down strongholds. So 2 Corinthians, Slakia Akim. All right, so this is This is 2 Corinthians 9, verse 3. It says, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Right? Because what? This flesh is of the world. This flesh strives of darkness. Therefore, we don't war after the flesh, right? We war after the spirit, which is what? Light. Right? It says, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahushua or of Hamashiach, right? So that is the thing. The light is here to what? To expose, right? To view of all, right? It says, the reason, mind, the power of understanding, especially moral and spiritual truth, which is only obtained through Yahushua, right? That's why the scripture says, it says the same came for a witness, to be a witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to the bearer, but was sent to be a witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighted every man that cometh into the world. Right? That plain and straight. It's true that Yahushua is the light that lighted all the world. And how him lighted all the world? Because him give his men the light to basically go out there and go on the highways and byways and prophesy. Also give them the light so them when them go through them daily lives, right? Them can shine it in the world where them living, so them not a stumble, right? This is Matthew chapter 10, right? So as a matter of fact, no, you know, I'm not gonna get that one yet. Let me get back here. Slack, yeah. As a matter of fact, let me just continue this, then we get into the other precepts, right? It says, verse 10 says, he was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Exactly. That is why when Yahweh Shai come and he basically bring the light, right? Everybody had a problem, right? Everybody had a problem with the light because what? Them be done in the darkness, them adjust to the darkness, right? Them eyes they basically get hurt, right? He came unto his own, and also this can go back to even the allegory of the cave. We tell you that when at first when the one with them let out or the one that escaped, depend on the variation of the story where I read, right? In what first when him go, the light hurt him eyes, right? And then after a while it adjusted. Some persons when I bring out the truth, them no wait enough for the for them eyes adjust to the light. So what happens is that them actually just the eyes them start hurt, and what them do? Straight away them run back to the darkness. Right? They don't give themselves times to adjust. Right? Then they'll be able to see clearly. Right? That way them receive sight. Right? He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. Right? It says, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. So the key point is that him going to give as many as receive him, he gave power to become sons of God. And how you are going to be a son of God? You have to have this light. You have to be a bearer of this light. You have to hold this light. So you must give him light unto you, right? Which, as we already going at the definition for the word light, right? Matter of fact, let me just get this precept now. This is Matthew 5, verse 14. It says, ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So that's the main point, right? When you get this light, you go out on the highways and byways, right? And first the light after the inner you, they can go out, they go shine it. So you have to basically receive it to put it out. Right? You have to receive it to actually put it out. Right? And also we need to go into the root. It says to make one thoughts, to make known one thoughts are to declare. Right? Thought I was more on that. Just a moment. All right, the second definition, let me play it, which is root, which is one of the root words for the word light. It says to bring forth into light, right? To cause to shine, to shed light, right? B says to become evident, to be brought forth into the light, to come, view, appear. That is why when somebody get reproved, them folly get exposed, right? When they basically out on the highways and byways are cut these doctrines, it expose it for being a doctrine of confusion, expose it from being of being a fruit of death, right? I would just remember that whenever everybody bring forth the valley of the shadow of death, because we are in the valley of the shadow of death. But soon get to that. It says to expose, it says to meet the eyes, to strike the sight, to become clear or manifest. Because hey, we were all blind, right? To appear to the mind, seem to one's judgment or opinion. They basically understand you, right? So it is about spiritual sight, which is basically what? Spiritual understanding, giving a judgment, right? Shalom. It says Selaka fi butcher your name up. Me kill the preach apostle of California, right? Yabashim Yashai Bashim Rakakodash Rakata, right? So basically to appear to mind to seem to one's judgment or opinion, right? So that is also what light does here. It opens your understanding, right? Now this is St. John chapter 8 verse 12. Then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of light. Right? So let's look up the word darkness from this precept. Right? Same word for light, darkness right here. Go and play the Greek. It says darkness due to the want of life, metaphorically use of ignorance of divine things. Hey, like for example, the rape doctrine, right? For example, or the so-called rape doctrine, the not understanding the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right? Not understanding that men were set up this order, right? Not understanding the mystery of the Gentiles, right? It says, and its associated wickedness and the resultant misery in hell, right? Because when they do something out of ignorance, the fruit or the result of that is always some form of misery, right? Which, as I go down to the strong definition and the synonyms, dimness, obscurity, the same thing from Genesis, basically, right? So that's the thing. When you do something out of ignorance or do something where that is of darkness, you always have a bad result because what? If you try walking in the dark, you always trip. You will trip over things. You go fall, right? You might possibly even hurt yourself, right? Or you might step on something valuable, or kick with something valuable. So you will need in order for that don't happen. You need the light. Right? Which is Yahushua. Then read it again, St. John 8, verse 12. Then spake Yahushua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. Exactly. And that is also what light is also likened unto your life. While darkness is what? Is likened unto death, right? And evils. Right? Going back to St. John. So this is St. John chapter 3. We might start up more. St. John chapter 3, start at verse 18 says, he that believeth on him is not condemned, which is who? Him being Yahushai, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he had not believed in the name of the only begotten Son. Salakia. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness, men love obscurity, men love confusion, men love death, right? Men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his soul should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be manifest, that they are wrought in God. Exactly. So that show you, once you're out there preach this word, we always do get all type of backlash, right? You get all type of backlash for bring out the truth of the Most High, right? Common example out here in a Jamaica, right? Say a woman walk past and I tell her, say, yo, my girl, go put on some clothes. You know, she skimpy or whatever, say, yo, put on some clothes. You go have a man somewhere over there on the side and say, yo, you're a batty man. And that is just something simple, where the righteousness show that look. By right, a woman supposed to cover, right? Because that prevent a whole heap of thing, right? Also, the order of the household, when you show that, look, man at the head of the household, right? You get you get reproof that he's a what? He's a misogynist, right? If I say I'm gonna behave too weak and say my gird up your lines, you see me act more manly. Yo dog, yo this me my youth, men emotional. When over and over again the scriptures promote men behaving as men, right? Tell a man don't, hey, even the lighter things, don't eat pork, don't commit adultery, don't commit idolatry. Right? Once I expose the things of this world using the light, which is what? Through the knowledge and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, things get out of hand because what? When people get so accustomed to the to the valley of the shadow of death, right? Because what dwell here is only death. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna bring it out now and then go back to St. John, right? Psalms. It says, yea, do I walk through the Psalms 23, verse 4, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Exactly. And the rod and the staff is what? Is Yahweh Shai, right? Because him our leader, but also him is also likened unto the light as well. Right? That is why we don't fear no evil, because we can see what's in the darkness through the light that was given. And we look up the word, as we said it, the phrase shadow of death, right? It's basically Tazal Mawath, right? It says the shadow of death, it says shadow darkness, and this definition at sea says death, shadow of distress, extreme danger, right? And D says a place of the dead. What the scripture said, he that wandered out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead, right? So if you're in the shadow, they are without the light, therefore they are dead. They're without the light, therefore they're in extreme judgment and danger. Because hey, as a kid growing up and being in the dark, why do you think why I used to be so fearful? Because I can't see anything in the dark. You just hear bare things on you, and as soon as I get little light, once you turn on the light, or if you even have a flashlight on and look, then all of a sudden your fears and everything just calm down. Because what? The light shows you, say, look, there's nothing to be afraid of. While if you shine the light, right, and you see that there is actual danger, then you don't know, say you need to move. Either do what you need to do to get out of the way. A lot of people they're in the wilderness without light, yo, and a lion just they're right behind them a crouch. While which is Esau, which if them they have the light, them could have see or the lion that they are crouch and get ready for run in. Right? But guess what? Them enjoy the shadow of death, right? They enjoy being dry bones, right? But then again, it's all about the will and the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. As you know, not everybody was basically meant to get it, right? You have the believers and you have the unbelievers, right? Are the non-believers, right? Verse 20 says, everyone that doeth evil, oh Salakia, it says he was verse oh Salakia. I have quite a few precepts up here. Have a little order we're going through, right? Yes, St. John 11. Oh, already have that up. All right. Yes, I'll get this one. So like St. John 11, well, starting at verse 9. It says, Yahushua answered, are there not 12 hours in the day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth, because there is no light in him. Right? Because what? Him blind. Right? That is also another thing. Hey, you can imagine a blind man wrote a stick, yo. You probably walk out in a one car, or might walk in a one ditch. As scripture says, if the blind lead the blind, they both shall what? Walk into a ditch. And I same thing what Yahweh shall do, him come and heal and give us light by what? Removing the blindness from our eyes so that our eyes can receive light. Right? That is the thing. Hey, people are walk in a daytime must stumble, yo, but the light is here. Yahweh is here, yo. That is why you're supposed to give thanks and honor and praise and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rakakwadash, for the blessing that he has given unto us, yo. The eyes to see, the eyes to receive light, right? And also the light so that we can walk in safety in these dark times, right? So that we can walk in safety in these dark times, because yo, it's really dark out there, yo. A very gross darkness, yo. Very, very, very gross darkness, right? And if we're going back to the definition of the word darkness, when I look up the root, right? The definition of B says darkened eyesight or blindness, metaphorically of ignorance respecting divine things and human duties, and the accompanying ungodliness and immorality, together with their consequent misery in the hell. A person in whom darkness becomes visible and holds sway. Exactly. Based off of what them ungodly manner, yo, right? Them immorality, right? Them lack understanding for human duties. Just like just simply a man was made to provide, a woman was made to aid, right? Knowing, as you said, respecting divine things such as order, yo. Order is a very divine thing, right? It's very divine for being order, yo. Because in order for things run smoothly, you need to have a certain pattern or a certain order. It work, right? So continuing, this is oh, already bring that out. I think we have that precept. Just a moment, Akim. Because even Paul made mention of the light as well, yo. Right. This is Acts chapter 26, verse 18. It says, to open their eyes, right, and to turn them from darkness to light, from the power of Satan unto God, that they may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance amongst them which are sanctified by faith that is in me. Right? So hey, even Paul actually say how to open their eyes from what? From blindness, right? And to turn them from what? From darkness to light, because when you're blind, all you see is darkness, right? But when you have light, then you can see, right? Hey, might search for the precept, right? If the whole body is full of light, slack, yeah. If one of my brothers can post it on the comment board, had it earlier, but you know, something happened where it actually went off. Let me see if I can find it back. I think it's in Luke. Well, the one that I was looking for is in Luke. All right, yeah, this is Luke 11 and verse 34. It says, the light of the body is the eye, wherefore when thine eye is single, thy whole body is full of light, but when thine eye is evil, thy whole body is full of darkness. And when you look up the word single, it means to be whole, right? So hey, when the eye is whole, meaning that it is perfect, like in a damage, right? As you say, oh, them that are whole needed not a physician, right? Your eye being whole, being able to receive that light, so your body full of light, right? It says, then, but when thine eye is evil, like whole body is full of darkness. So when you start shut your eye from this light, yo, and start go back into this world and start follow the ways of darkness, what do you think happen? Right? You become evil, right? You become blind. You're gone, basically, it's like you receive sight and actually blind yourself again, right? You move from darkness to light. Or a second definition, I think this one is it, right? The root. So this is Strong's. Oh, not this one, Slovakia. So yeah, that is it on that, right? Next precept is 2 Timothy 1:10. It says start at verse 9. It says, who had saved us and called us with an holy calling, not according to our works, but according to his own purpose and grace, which was given us in Hamashiach Yahushai before the world began, but now is made manifest by the appearing of our Savior Yahushai Hamashiach, who had abolished death and had brought life and immortality to light through the gospel, right? So it basically bring things from what? It bring us to light, right? The gospel, right? Which is the teachings, the doctrines, right? Bring out this Greek word. Right? This is the word light in the passage. It says to give light, to shine, enlighten, illuminate, right? To bring to light, to render evident, right? To cause something to exist and thus come to light and become clear to all, right? Yahushua will come to realize that we live in a very dark place and that there's better to come, right? It says to enlighten spiritually, embodied with saving knowledge. Because what is this knowledge given unto us towards what? Towards salvation, right? To instruct, to inform, teach, to give understanding to, right? And this is what we need to overcome this darkness, right? We need the light to overcome the darkness. When I want me to shadow on the darkness from the shadow of the valley of death, right? Or it comes through the it comes through us making our walks in our daily life all the way up to salvation, That is what it is there for, to the saving of the soul, right? This is Ephesians 5, starting at verse 8. It says, for ye were sometimes darkness, but now ye are light in the Lord. Walk as the children of light, right? That way we can escape, right? Walk as the children of the children of light, right? It says, for the fruit of the spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord. How you know what is acceptable? Through the scriptures. That is how you know that line up not acceptable. That is how you know that eating pork is not acceptable, right? But you know that being evil is not acceptable, and have no fellowship with unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. How you reprove them? By shining the light on it, by exposing it, bring it out clear for all to see. Because ultimately that's what light does. For it is a shame evil to speak of those things which are done of them in secret, which is right. A lot of people think that darkness through what secret, but they use the light to reprove it. You have the light to make it manifest. Verse 13, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever do it make manifest is light. Right? Wherefore he said, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yahweh and Hamashiach give thee light. Now, hey, this light in Ephesians 5, verse 14 is a very, very good one. As you know, also darkness represents sleep as well, and light also represent being awake, right? And look up this word light. This is from the Strong's G2 017, right? Hope this is edifying Akim. Hope this is making sense. Let it play. It says to shine upon, it says Hamashiach will pour upon you the divine truth as the sun gives light to men arose from sleep. So also, hey, just like when you sleep and the sun rise up and you get hot and like the place start bright up, you know, say, oh, time to get up, yo. Right? That is why Yahushua is also known as what? The bright and morning star. That is why it's also likened unto the sun. Right? Read this again. Hamashiach will pour on you the divine truth as the sun gives light to men aroused from sleep. This is what Yahushua is for. Right? And this is what Yahushua has done and is doing. Right? Come to the root says to become visible, to appear, to become clearly known. Right? Checking to see if there's any more on that. Okay, this already bring out, right? It says verse 15 says, Ephesians 5 verse 15, seeing then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time because the days are evil. Right? So that go again. Right? Now this is Luke 11. I already read this, add it up twice. All right. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 6. It says, for God who had commanded the light to shine out of darkness, right? And also in Genesis, it says, at first the place was what? Was without form and void, and there was darkness, and he said, let there be light. And also you have Yahushua be that light that basically that is being shone in the darkness, yo. And shine in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God into the face of Yahushua, right? So it just go for show that look, we basically get this light, right? We definitely get this light. First Peter 2 verse 9, it says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should shew forth the praise of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Right? So we were called out of the evils, the obscurity, the confusion, the death, right? Into what? Into his marvelous light, yo. And that is a blessing. That is a very, very great blessing, yo. A great mercy from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Right? And also I have two more precepts. Well, one more because I already read one. Right? That was already read. So the final precept is the 2 Peter 1 verse 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. Right? So there you have that, yo. The day dawn actually rise in our hearts with Yahushua. Right? Read it again. We also have a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto light that shineth into a dark place. Exactly, because hey, we get this light. But what that shine into a dark place. So we take heed. So if the light show us, look here, the bridge the way I walk on is full of rotten boards and it'll break. Then trust it and don't walk on it, yo. But if you show the light and the light show that look, it's steady, even though they're over a high place, then go cross. Because what? It is sure. Right? It is very, very sure. Right? And when you look up the word light, in this precept, I'm going to read it or let it play. Right? It says a lamp, a candle that is placed on a stick or a candlestick. But then again, it'll go gonna look at the root, right? It says light, bright, brilliant, brilliant from whiteness or dazzling white. It says of garments of angels and of those exalted to be splendor of the heavenly state. Second definition, shining or white garments worn on festive or state occasions. Now, Yahushua say, yo, him a drink with when him see we in the kingdom, right? That is a festivity, and it's also of state occasions. 144,000 are they going to be the governing body? So what? Isn't that a state occasion, right? The third definition of white garments as a sign of innocence and purity of the soul. What are going to make we innocent and pure in the soul? Yo? The light, which is what the doctrine, the word. B says dead white, first of the whitening color of ripening grain. And you have the harvest, the great harvest which is to come, which the elect will be harvested, right? Because of the ripening grain, that means are ready to pick, right? Of the whitening color of ripening grain. So that goes to show that look, we being called, right? And this light shining to the dark place is us basically being made perfect unto salvation, yo. So we need to use the light to overcome the darkness, yo. Hey, so hey, with that, hope you brothers were edified. Once we want to say all praises to Yahweh, Basham Yahushai, Basham Rakakwadash, honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word now, sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps. Shalom.